What's up, friends? So, I wasn't going to do a recording tonight, but I felt like this is one of those times that I have to tell you about my day. So, I'm going to get right into it. So, I guess on Sunday, when we did the live with Boss Man, I noticed something was wrong with the internet because we usually don't have that kind of problem. But I just thought, well, maybe it's off because we've got a thousand kids here and they're all on their phones. I don't know what I thought. So I guess last night, before we were gonna do the staircase, the internet was gone. Like, it just disappeared, and I wasn't here a lot yesterday, so when I got home, the girls were like, "Mom, it hasn't worked all day." And I noticed our cameras were off, and, you don't think about everything that you use with Wi-Fi, but, like, a lot of the stuff was gone. So I had called Cox, and I was like, "Okay, I need to make an appointment." They were like, "We can come out at 1 o'clock today," and I was like, "Great." And I know AT&T had been putting in their fiber optic stuff, and they've been all over my yard digging up stuff, and I thought they probably accidentally did something. Well, also when I woke up this morning, I got on my phone, and it's been saying service battery for a while, and I can get it to, like, 100 when I wake up, and by 9 a.m., it's to 20%. And I'm one of those people that hates going to get a new phone, and I don't get one every year. I think this one is one I had was like a 15, and it was because I wouldn't have gotten that if I hadn't got it in water. But anyway, so boss man calls and says, "Before I go out of town, let's run and get you a phone." Now, at this same time, I'm, like, in my car trying to just figure out if what's not working in the house on my internet in my car. So I go meet him, get the phone, get back to the house, and why I didn't think about using Bossman's Starlink the other day, that didn't cross my head. So I'm in my car with the Starlink and the 2 phones, and all of a sudden, I see this snake that's at least as tall as me, which is 5'3" on a good day. Not tall, but long. And I'm like, "What is happening?" Like, go across our yard. And I'm like, "That's weird." Okay, remember that. So, Cox shows up. This poor man, so sweet. He was the nicest man. And he was like, "Well, everything looks fine inside your house, but there must be something going on outside." So God love him, he goes to the back. And we had added on an addition about a year and a half ago, and the plumber had cut some of the cable lines accidentally, and they had fixed it, but Cox never came back and buried the cable in the easement. Well, apparently when AT&T has been working back there, they like nicked it probably like on Friday of last week. And then by when they came back yesterday, I guess they clipped it. So it's like somebody cut your wire, and I'm like, "That's not something you should say to me, especially with all the drama." And I was like, "So," he's like, "No, no, no, I think AT&T accidentally did it, and we never came back and did it." So, we're still a little iffy on the internet, but we are back up and running, and so now I'm trying to figure out all the things. So, so as you know, I'm in my car with the Starlink trying to get my phones to transfer back and forth all the data. I see the snake, fix the internet, go inside. Well, I get a phone call from my youngest sweet little daughter, and she's like, "Mom," actually, no, I didn't get a phone call from her first. I got a call from my middle daughter, and she's like, "Do you know what Presley did?" And I said, "No, she went to Tractor Supply with her boyfriend." She's like, "Huh." She's like, "She went to Atwoods." And before she could even finish her sentence, I said, "What did she buy? What animal did she get?" I hung up. I immediately called Presley. And I would like you to know that as that's happening, I'm hearing this in the background because the water leak upstairs. Jackhammering. So she says, "Well, mom, I really needed a duck." And I said, "No, you don't. We live in the city, darling." Now, that being said, I was raised on a farm. I showed cattle. I loved it. Well, I didn't really love it, but I mean, I kinda loved it. Got me some good like, scholarship stuff. But I was the Arkansas Angus Queen. Shout out to all my cow showing friends. But and that's a whole story for Boss Man later. But ducks in the city, she's like, "Well, mom, they can, get in the pool and we can, take care of them." As you see the poop here. Yeah, that's nice. Well, so the next thing I know, I'm like literally saying to her, "You have to figure out where these ducks are going before you bring them home." So she brings them home. She's like, "But I got them a bed and everything and a light." And I was like, "Presley, no. Like, see this? This is what I'm dealing with." I mean, yes, they're cute, guys, but no, they're in my garage. So back to the snake story. Here, I'll show you another picture of them. Um, when I lived on the farm, and my mom used to have peacocks, which are mean, but she raised them from babies, and they actually were pretty nice at that point. But I used to one of my jobs or my chores back in the day was to go out and check on the baby peacocks, and some were in eggs and some had just hatched. And I walked outside and there was a rat snake. And when I tell you the snake was eating the babies whole and I could see them shaking in the snake's stomach, I had never been so mortified in my life. And until this day, that walking in the tack room at my parents' house still gives me chills because it was the most horrific thing I've ever seen. So, that's why when I saw the snake, I was like, "Oh no, that snake will come for these birds." Plus, I have a German Shepherd. She will think that's fun. She'll think, "What a challenge it will be to eat these." But she's like, "Mom, they can get in the pool." And she goes, "And Carly gave him a bath in your sink." And I was like, "What?" Yeah. So that happened. Well, she's my animal lover and she's her. And I'm hoping that my sweet little mom is going to take them when they get home from practice in a second. She's going to take them. I'm making Presley and the boyfriend, which, by the way, that boyfriend thought this was a good idea. He's fired. But there was this other time, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but since I'm talking about the ducks, oh, she did say, "Well, mom, I could have gotten chickens, but you had to buy 6 of them." Seriously, this is my life. Well, a funny story about Presley is she's always been an animal lover. She's loves horses. She's like an animal whisperer. Well, when she was little, my she wanted pigs, and I said nope. She dreamed of having them in our house in the city and living in her bedroom. I said no. But my parents don't really know how to say no to their grandchildren. And I have to share this video with y'all because my mom ended up getting her 2 baby pigs, and it's actually a really funny story at the end of it, but I'm gonna let you watch this video with her because it's precious, and this was probably 4 years ago, so hold on, let me add it to the
Technically
here.
about shoeing the horses, but he happened to mention that his little tiny male pig bred his tiny female pig, and they had babies.
And
And uh, I thought maybe you'd like to go see them while you stay with us this weekend.
see it or keep it.
Well, I thought you might want to go see it and pick one out or two.
So that happened. It's pretty sweet. But then we got this is my oldest daughter who probably would kill me for showing this picture of her. We got Trixie and Lulu. Now, the great thing about these pigs is they lived at my parents' house. They were precious. They weren't gonna get much bigger than that. But my mom calls me one day and she's like, "Katie, the pigs gave me scabies." And I said, "Shirley, what does that mean?" I mean, I was like, "Mom, I can't even make this up." She's like, "No, they get scabies." And I said, "Then get rid of the pigs." Well, of course, as soon as Presley heard this, she was like, "Bye, pigs." So the pigs are now living in a very great new home. But what I'm telling you is Presley has no problem bringing home animals. So currently, I have 2 ducks that she thinks are going to splash around in the pool. They're not. But this has been my day today. And so when I think life gets crazy on the internet, I just come home to mine. Oh, and then to top that off, I was getting ready for Bossman to come home, pack, and get ready to go, and I had made plans to figure out car situations. Well, his plane got canceled again, so he's now not leaving. So we may have to switch live situations if we do that again this weekend, maybe on Friday night, because he's going to leave after that. So anyway, I hope you all have had a great Tuesday, and I hope my Wednesday is less dramatic and I don't have any animals. So I will see you all later, and I hope you have the great rest of the week. And I guess that's all of my story for today. Bye, guys.